Well, hello, this is Dee with Backpack Journeys. I thought I'd give a brief update or tips for Amtrak travelers. A lot of people have bought the rail pass and they're going to be traveling, and that is great news. I hear that the trains are filling up and probably going to be full this summer. Um, right now, I did mention in another video that Amtrak is in the process of switching back to their pre-pandemic schedules, and there will be some little bit of confusion. You can see that video. I'll probably maybe put a card link, maybe something up in here somewhere. What I'm going to show you today, I will say that there are a lot of groups out there for Amtrak and specific trains that you might want to ride. They're getting hundreds and hundreds of post questions, particularly from first-time travelers, because the veterans, us veterans, know what to expect, understand the problems that occur, and just remember that Amtrak is a journey and not a destination. So I thought I'd go over some of those. You can join the groups, but it gets kind of confusing. I can imagine same questions are asked over and over again. So this one came up, and it was a comment by a potential first-time traveler. So I will just say, backing up, that you can join these groups. This one's happened to be on Facebook. There are several Amtrak groups. Just help yourself joining them. A lot of information in there, a lot of great information, a lot of knowledge from people that have traveled a whole lot more than I have. Some are employees with Amtrak. So they do ride these trains, so they can give some insights too. But I'm going to just nitpick and group together a lot of these posts and put on here through the summer. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to go anywhere because now it's too hot. It's one thing after another, which is what is happening with Amtrak. Okay, so this is my intro. That took 2 minutes. So what I have here is a post from one of the groups, and from a potential rider, first-time Amtrak rider, and has some points. And the comments have been turned off by this author. I won't say who it is or anything like that. We'll keep it anonymous, but the ideas are good. So I'm going to go over these with you because I was going to do this anyway. Okay, number one is talking about the hot weather is problematic for the rails, and the trains are generally not running on time. Factor 5+ hours delay. Well, the 5+ hours delay is not true on every train. I always, on the good day, I haven't been on a train since the pandemic started, but I would go 2 hours was my comfort level, but that's pushing it. A lot of people, I will say, if you're making a transfer, you have a changeover anywhere, stay overnight right now probably is a good idea. If you're heading out west particularly, or if you're headed west to east, but you got to stop in Chicago, I'll just say this way. If you have to stop in Chicago, it might be a good idea this time around, through the summer at least, to spend the night in Chicago. Make plans for that. Another thing I want to bring up is that for the delays, is that the hot weather, it's not just that it's hot weather and this is all Amtrak's fault. Does anybody out there know what happens to tracks when they get really hot? Really, really hot, like is out west right now? They buckle. First they buckle, then they fail. Personally, I have been on a train that had to take a detour. My first train ride was on the California Zephyr. Had to take a detour from Iowa. We went to Kansas City, and we weren't supposed to go to Kansas City. So they were making up time in the middle of the night, and I literally bumped all over my roomette. Did not sleep. I asked somebody about it the next day, and the answer was we had to go over tracks that had buckled. And that's what happens in the heat. Extreme heat will cause it to buckle, then cause it to fail. So be patient with that. That is not Amtrak's fault. If you can't be flexible with this and patient, just be patient. If you can't be, then maybe not go this summer. Maybe not go in this heat. It's something that they can't do anything about. So that talks about the heat question. Please allow extra time. Even if you are a seasoned rider and you're used to just hopping, I think it's fun to hop from train to train, and I've had trains held for me before. Not just me, but the people on another train had to run to a train literally. But this is not the summer to do that. Let's go to the next concern. Okay, several of the trail runs do not have observation lounge cars. Bigger trains do, cross-country trains do. Your smaller trains, a lot of the East Coast trains do not. Your smaller, I call them commuter trains, do not have an observation car. That is true. But your cross-country trains do have observation cars. Trains that usually go halfway cross-country, like from New York or Washington, D.C. to Chicago, they do have observation cars. So if you're just trying to make your plans according to your rail pass particularly, look at the trains and see before you book, before you get the tickets, if they have an observation car, if that is important to you. Coach passengers are not allowed to eat in the diner car. Okay, right now they are not. In the past, before the pandemic, they were allowed to eat and they had to pay for it, and I've done that many times. You can go in there and you can do that. Right now, since the pandemic, they've had box lunches. They have not been cooking in the dining car. The dining cars have been closed in general. So they have had box lunches sent to the sleeper cars. That's for COVID. That's for your protection. So I applaud Amtrak for doing that. It has not come back yet. The advocates, the official advocates on official boards and whatnot, advocacy boards for Amtrak, are pushing right now for that to be brought back. That coach passengers can go in the dining car. But right now they cannot. And the second part to this is, and you should plan on bringing your own food. The cafe car is open. The cafe car is open to your coach riders. Now, granted, it's not going to be a full meal as like you think. It's not going to be your steak and baked potato like the dining car. It's going to be hot dogs, hamburgers, yogurts. They have your mixed drinks are down there, and your beer and wine's down there. You can get alcohol down in there. You cannot drink at your coach seat though. If you're in coach, but there's food. There's things like chips and that kind of thing. There are other kinds of sandwiches. I usually just get the yogurt and the hot dog. So Nathan's hot dog is not that bad. But I have had the hamburger too. Trying to get this so it stays straight. I don't know how to do that. But if you want something better, yes, bring some food. If you're adventurous, you can call ahead to a place where the train may stop for an extended period of time, and call and have like DoorDash or something like that bring you some food from a restaurant. People have done that. See if I can read this. There have been recent floods and landslides which also make it delays. That is true, and that is a lot in Colorado. Wildfires are starting up. If you're not familiar with the West and you're headed towards the West, they have wildfires every summer. The West burns every summer. Yes, that does mean there's going to be smoke. Yes, usually the train goes through the smoke. If you have allergies or that size type of situation, which I'm allergic to smoke, keep that into consideration. The time of year you go. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Amtrak cannot control the wildfires. Amtrak cannot control the floods, mudslides either. They are happening. There's one that happened, I believe, this past week in Colorado. Those happen. I've had to be shuttled out of a train in Cumberland, Maryland, myself, from a tree falling on the track due to a storm. Not Amtrak's fault. That's not very comfortable, I will tell you, to have a train completely shut down. All electric goes down, the bathrooms go down, cafe car goes down. You're basically stuck. But Amtrak gets you out of that. They sent buses. We have very nice air-conditioned buses and gave us free KFC dinner. It was at dinner. It happened to have yes, it had to happen at a mealtime. So, but Amtrak took care of us, got us to Washington D.C. That is not Amtrak's fault. So again, I'm going to keep saying this. This probably will be a little bit long, but I'm going to keep saying this. If you cannot be flexible and enjoy the adventure of whatever happens on Amtrak, probably the best time for you to go is not this summer, and wait until the fall or maybe next summer. Okay? If you've already bought your rail pass, then just take this into consideration. Let's see. That's all. That was a specific question. That was all that was covered. The other thing that I want to say is if you get a roomette and your intention of getting a roomette is to be away from everybody, then have patience with that too. That happened on a train. It wasn't totally verified, but it was reported on one of these group sites last week or week before last that an entire train, the toilets were all stopped up and not usable in the coach. People were going in the bathroom areas where the roomettes and bedrooms are. A lot of people were upset that were in the roomettes because they wanted them to themselves. They didn't want other people in there. Just keep that in mind. If emergencies like that happen, try to be flexible too. I know you paid extra. I know you paid for a great ride and a great time. Those people who were inconvenienced did too. And it's something that didn't, probably was not Amtrak's fault. I will say this just as a couple of hacks in here. The commode system in the train is old, and it won't take a lot. Do not carry your own toilet paper. They have special toilet paper. That is the number one thing that, or the number within the top couple, that will stop up the whole car. Number one, don't bring your own toilet paper. Number two, don't put anything down the toilets. It's not meant for that. Number three, if you take children with you on your trip, please supervise them, particularly overnight. I have been on a train where two boys were allowed to run from toilet to toilet, bathroom to bathroom, playing hide and seek with each other, thinking it was funny. I said something to them. They didn't listen. I'm quite sure the adults watching them were sleeping while they were running through the train all night. The next number about this is, if any of this happens and you see it, talk to a conductor. Find a conductor. There may not be, they have to sleep too, and sometimes they may be in the dining car, sometimes they may be hanging out together in another car that doesn't have many passengers. Go look for them. Go through the train. Also, if your bathroom gets stocked up in your car, go to another car. You can go throughout the train except in the sleepers and bedroom areas. Okay? Tell your conductor. If you're not satisfied, please try to enjoy your trip the best you can, but contact customer service. You can wait till you get home to contact customer service. Be sure you know what train you're on, what time of train time it happened, who you talked to while you were on the train. Get names of the employees. They have names. You can ask them their names. Most are extremely helpful. I found them all to be extremely helpful. But if that's not the case and to your liking, you can always contact customer service once you get to where you're going. It doesn't do any good to be all upset and upset the people around you while you're on the train. Okay? So that's just what I wanted to say, to go over some things that are happening, particularly out west. I haven't heard anything about trains on the East Coast, believe it or not. It's just been West Coast. If I would like to know if there are any problems from the East Coast, put in the comments below. So I want to tell you these things to hopefully, so you can plan better, to hopefully to know what to expect. Remember, Amtrak is the adventure. No two trips are going to be alike. No two trains are going to be alike. Everything in the world has happened to me. I wound up homeless in a train station, being kicked out unnecessarily. It was not my fault. I filed a complaint once I got back home. I have been on several trains that have been shut down, had to be bussed out. I've had to wait, been inconvenienced. All of that has happened, but I still ride the trains. I've been tens of thousands of miles on trains, and it's bound to happen. It's still better than flying. Flying, airports and airlines are still canceling flights. They're still having hundreds of people going postal on the planes. If someone goes postal, I'd rather it be on the ground than in the air. Personally, Amtrak will take care of those people and have them off the train. That's a whole nother story. But the general idea is just relax, just be flexible, be patient, enjoy the journey. Okay? I hope everybody's doing well and is safe, and this is done on 4th of July. I hope if you celebrate, I hope that you have a safe one. If you like this, please like this. See my other videos on traveling. Like this video, subscribe, comment below. I love seeing your comments. And until next time, happy rails, stay safe.